Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the B Leaguers podcast. My name is Stokes. I'm joined with Flynn as always. You know, we can say that now because we're on episode 3. So,
Yes, always.
yeah, always. So, guys, basically, this episode's going to be like halfway filler, but Flynn and I are usually good at keeping things relevant and interesting. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna see if Flynn and I are cut out for the podcast game in this episode. So, but basically, this episode is going to be covering our USN predictions as well as a little bit of Q&A and a little bit of background on Flynn and myself. But grab a seat, grab some popcorn, grab your drink or your morning coffee if that's how you guys are using this, and turn us up a little bit more in your car to hear that beautiful, beautiful baritone in our voices. So, Flynn, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. My sleep schedule is a fucking mess. I woke up at 4 p.m. today.
Wow.
So I'm gonna have to gun it tonight, stay up as long as possible tomorrow, and then fall asleep at a normal hour because I have to get up at 6 a.m. to get to the airport on Thursday before flying out to Vegas. So that's gonna suck a lot of penis. So yeah, I'm gonna record this and then I'm gonna upload it, and then I'm probably gonna go continue watching Game of Thrones. I started rewatching Game of Thrones, which has been fun, and I'm gonna play a lot of Chell and watch a lot of Game of Thrones and try and make it until like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then fall asleep so that I can wake up at like 3 in the morning and pack and get ready to be on an airport or on a plane for 5 hours and in airports for 8 hours. It'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely gonna be a good time. I got a little bit of a busy day slash.
You've got
couple days ahead.
you've got a shorter flight than I do. So when do you fly out? Like what time?
I fly out at 9:40 in the morning.
Oh, okay. I fly out at 10:15 in the morning, but mine's a 5-hour flight. How long's your flight?
I can actually tell you. I think I have a connection in not Philadelphia, somewhere else. Here, hold on.
I'll get a connection.
Yeah, I believe so. I actually think
really.
I saw one on there. Is it? Yeah.
I got a straight shot from Pearson.
Look at you, dude.
Wow. All right. Sucks to be you, dude. Shit.
It always sucks.
Don't you get in after me too?
I do believe so. Yeah.
You get in. Like I get in
at 1. I get in at 1:12. So basically, right when you get set up in the hotel is when I land.
Yeah, because it'll take me like 15 minutes to clear security and get my bags, and then 15 minutes to get to the hotel, get set up.
Do they pay for a check bag, or do we have to pay for a check bag?
We got to pay for check bags. They don't cover it.
I'm gonna one bag anyway.
It's gonna suck too, because it's gonna be my first time actually checking a bag, because I'm bringing like full suits. For every other event I've done, I've never brought like a jacket. This will be the first one where I'm actually bringing my jackets and stuff, so it's gonna suck because I have to check a bag. It's gonna cost money, and then I'm gonna have to wait for the fucking bag to show up. And if they lose my luggage, I'm gonna throw myself off a cliff, because that's what happened to Demo in Paris. They lost his bags and they never got it back to him.
Ow.
Yeah, so he had to go out and buy clothes right before the major started, which sucks for him.
That is shit. Yeah, I don't
want to be in that boat.
No, I don't want to either. And the shit thing is you can't put suits in a carry-on at all, because you get your suit bag and all that shit, and you really don't want to have to get there and then pay for them to be fucking dry pressed and shit. You don't want to do that. Fuck that. So especially in Las Vegas, that price has to be ridiculous. So all right, so I fly out of McAllen at 9:40 in the morning. I land at Houston at 11:02. And then I don't have that much of a layover. 11:55 out of Houston to Vegas. So basically, your boy's gonna be running across motherfucking Houston, dude. Like I'm gonna be straight sprinting. So
not bad.
Yeah, actually, it's not that too far. Terminal difference. Terminal B to Terminal C, which is just one tram ride. I've been to Houston a fucking bajillion times. So, and
that's
then
better.
Once again, I'm gonna be in the land of oh my god. Not Parker. Jesus, it's escaping me right now. Can literally see his face. It's literally gonna haunt me. 2 seconds. I have to fix this. Oh my goodness. Manager, Evil Geniuses. His name. Peter. Thank you, Peter Parker. Lamau. Anyways, yeah.
What? Where were you going with that?
Spider-Man. What do you mean, Peter Parker?
Okay. Even though he's from New York, but all right.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that's how I usually remember it. I just had a big brain fart. But anyways, Peter egos me all the time on Snapchat, dude. Fuck Peter. Anyways, yeah, but back in the land of Peter in Houston. So and then I fly out and I'll be in Las Vegas at your doorstep at 1:12. So
not bad.
Then we're gonna be drinking, and then possible partake in the Houston, Jesus, the Las Vegas ways. Then play some Smash that night over at Blue's house and win money off of other people, so I can gamble with it. So
yeah, it's gonna be a fun trip. It's gonna be a fun time being in Vegas. Lots to do, a lot of nightlife to explore, both before and after the event. Yeah, I think that's everything we can cover as far as our travel and our leisure life. But I guess our really only subject, and just to clarify for anyone out there who's listening and confused and wondering why we're doing this, basically we're just gonna do the USN predictions, our predictions of like what's gonna happen and what we see as like the most interesting storylines and stuff and players to watch, because nothing interesting happened all weekend because we don't have a Pro League season active right now. The patch did come out today that was supposed to fix the audio bugs for Hibana and Thermite, and then playing in ranked today I encountered the silent diffuser glitch, so that was fun. It's a mess. It's a mess right now, so we're still waiting for Pro League to start. There's been a lot of reports from other pros out there that there's still more bugs that have yet to be corrected that impact gameplay quite severely. I think we're at the point of no return right now as far as getting a hot fix in before USN, so we will be playing USN on the weekend on a relatively broken patch, and that sucks.
Do you know if the patch covered the QE lane at all?
Doubtful. I did not look at the notes for the hotfix.
Neither did I.
And to be honest, I don't really want to go and try and find them. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck for the team or even the casters who get fucked over by some kind of glitch, but it happens, and we'll work through it. Teams will work through it. That's how she goes. Let's get on to predictions though. Let's start breaking some stuff down. Are you just copying and pasting questions for later? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I am.
I thought you were trying to DM me something like important that we weren't supposed to say out loud. But no, you're good. Just keep copying and pasting those, and I'll.
You can say this out loud.
I don't know about the second part there, but I think I'm gonna pass on that. Anyway,
it's not racial, guys. I promise.
No.
It's
not that bad. It's just no. I'm not gonna be the one.
I'm just wanting to cover the bases.
Yeah,
yeah. Stokes, you terrible human being. Like,
yeah, no, it's nothing like that. It's just
I'm just a fucking idiot. Big difference.
Yeah. Predictions. So if you guys don't know, I know there's been a lot of questions on the Pro League subreddit and on Twitter. We've actually got added in a bunch of these questions as well, as far as what is the schedule and what is the bracket looking like. The bracket is live on Liquipedia. Always go to Liquipedia if you have any questions for anything like a Siege tournament. They always have it way in advance. So the bracket is up on Liquipedia. As far as schedule, all I can say is it will be early morning in Vegas. It'll be kind of like the Invitational or seasonal lands, if you guys have ever been in the same time zone as those, where they start early in the morning and they go deep into the evening. I don't think I'm allowed to release our full schedule yet. We do have it. We know what the full schedule is. I just don't think we're allowed to release that yet because it hasn't been officially announced. Just prepare for early morning starts on both days.
Mm-hmm. So get fucked, nerds, because you guys don't know yet. So
well, I mean, it's perfect for the East Coast because like we're gonna be starting on the West Coast hella early, but it's gonna be like in the afternoon for the East Coast. So
yeah,
that's gonna be good for you guys. Although it will go hella deep into the night on the East Coast. So that will suck.
100%. I will say, out of everything scheduling wise and like people's flights and shit, Parker's definitely got the fucking worst, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got to come from Poland, right? And it sucks that
23 hours of travel.
Something like that. Yeah, he said it was gonna be like basically a full 24-hour day from airport, like from leaving his front door in Poland to stepping off the plane in Vegas. So that's gonna suck for him, and it also sucks because he didn't need to be in Poland because Pro League didn't start, so he could have actually been in Toronto with me, and we could have taken the same flight out on Thursday.
But you guys want to hold hands too?
I mean, it's so much easier being on a flight with someone you know than being on a flight with no one. Like, you're gonna have your girlfriend with you. I'm not gonna have it. I'm just gonna be listening to music.
I'm not actually.
Oh,
yeah, I'm not gonna have her. She flies out Friday.
Oh,
she's got a final for her nursing stuff.
Oh, I thought you would have.
I'll be all alone.
I thought you would have just bought both flights together and then asked ESL to comp one of them. That's usually what people who bring people with them do. But anyway, returning to predictions. The bracket breaks down as such. If you guys want to check it out, it's on Liquipedia. First game is Ex Noble versus Evil Geniuses. The second game is Cloud9 against Elephant Gang. The third game is Rogue against Sinister. And the fourth game is Space Station versus Rise Nation. We just went over like a huge meeting with Jump, our host, for all this stuff. So this is all very fresh in our minds, and it's gonna feel like we're repeating ourselves, even though it's gonna be new info to you guys. So I'll try and repeat most of what we said and not really feel like I'm repeating myself too much. Easy just predictions, not getting into like who to watch and stuff and storylines and all that shit. I'm gonna take EG over Ex Noble in the first quarterfinal. I'm going to take Cloud9 barely edging out Elephant Gang in the second quarterfinal. I'm going to take Rogue deleting Sinister in the third quarterfinal, and Space Station edging it out against Rise Nation in the fourth quarterfinal. That would leave me with EG against Cloud9 in the top semi, and Rogue against SSG in the bottom semi. I'm still going to take EG over Cloud9, although I think that'll be a lot better of a game than some people might be thinking. So that would put EG in the finals. And then Rogue SSG, that's going to be a battle of titans in the second semifinal. I'm going to go with Rogue. I think we're going to have an EG Rogue final. And I know it's a really lame prediction, but hey, I mean, Rogue looks like the Harlem Globetrotters right now, adding Vert and dropping Super. So, and EG doesn't have Geo in. So I'm going to say Rogue wins it all. Rogue will be Team USA for 2018 is my prediction.
Ooh, okay, I like that. Okay, so guess the ball is now in my court.
Yup.
All right, so relatively going to be the same way off the bat, but I will just throw a little spin ball in there just for fun, just because I always love a good story, you know me. So, Evil Geniuses over Ex Noble, Cloud9 over Elephant Gang, and by the way, these are all basically the same relative points that Flynn's going to make that he already made, so I'm just going to quickly run through mine. Rogue over Team Sin, that's going to be an absolute pub stomp. It's going to be ridiculous. And then Space Station and Rise, I'm going to go Rise Nation edging out Space Station Gaming, just because, honestly, I think that they can do it. Ghost is there now. Honestly, it's going to be a hell of a match. That's already what I talked about. We really wish that they were on opposite ends of the bracket, because god damn, do they both look good.
It looks like it's going to be the most underrated and yet best quarterfinal game. That's what I said to Jump as well. That game, SSG versus Rise Nation, in the last quarterfinal of the day, so they have to wait all day to play that. They're going to be warm. They're going to have a lot of practice behind them. They're going to know what they're going to be going up against as far as their next game after they, whoever wins the first quarterfinal. That's going to be a scary matchup. That's going to be a scary, scary fucking game. And like I said to Jump, we haven't decided yet who's going to be casting which games. I don't know if I would rather cast or watch that game. Because when I cast games, I tend to remember the big moments where I'm like on the call, I'm giving the call. I tend to remember those, they stick in my mind. Like Retro clutching the defuse at DreamHack Montreal, that will be burned in my mind for the rest of my life. But I don't remember a lot of like the minutia of the minor details of that game. I remember it being close. I remember a lot of rounds being traded back and forth. But there are games that I have watched in other tournaments that I remember a lot more of because I was able to dig in and I didn't. Ooh, I just smacked my microphone. I didn't have to like focus on casting. I didn't have to focus on saying something interesting or new or creative or worry about giving like a play-by-play call, getting really hype and in depth and fast-paced. Where I'm able to like I remember almost every single detail of all 5 maps of the EG Penta final at Invite. And I was just sitting there watching the game. Granted, it was live. I was in the audience, but Like, I remember that game backwards and forwards. I remember the fucking EG G2 Paris Major final pretty closely as well.
Oh my god.
I remember a lot of games from Paris pretty well, but games I've even casted, those memories don't stick in my mind, and I can't pick them apart like from an analytical viewpoint after the fact. In the moment, I'll be able to break them down, but after the fact, I'll probably forget most of the interesting points of the game. So I don't know if I would rather cast or watch that game from the sidelines.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you either. That game's going to be absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact, especially because 50-50 probably of the viewers that are, well, listeners that have listened to this have heard me cast. When things get exciting, I am easily excitable. So I don't know if I'd much rather be sitting on the sidelines going, holy fuck, or much rather be there saying my tagline of, oh my goodness, just constantly, because I know for a fact Space Station versus Rise Nation is just going to be an absolute slugfest. So oh man, I'm so excited for that match.
All right, what you got in the semis and finals? You said EG, Cloud9, and Rogue Rise is your semifinals games.
Yes, I did. So I'm going to go. Oh man, that EG Cloud9 game is going to be so close. But you know what? I'm going to say after the first day, Cloud9, having it. I'm going to say it's going to be pretty close with Elephant Gang as well. I'm going to go with another one. I love upsets, so we're going to go Cloud9 over EG. I'm going to say Cloud9 makes it back to the final. Best of 3 format. They did great at DreamHack Montreal.
They beat EG at DreamHack Montreal in the group stage, or in the off-stream portion, yes, with the full roster. Although, granted, it was new. Like, Geo had just joined the team at the time. But it wasn't even close. I was watching that game from behind them while they were playing in the BYOC section, because I wasn't casting the game that was on while they were playing. It was 6-1, I believe, for Cloud9 on Villa, and 6-2 Cloud9 on Consulate. It wasn't even a contest. Like, they slapped EG. So, man, that game, like I said, that game is going to be a lot closer than I think fans are going to give them credit for. They have played each other on LAN before, and it did not go well for EG.
Mm-hmm. And you basically have the same story because you have Gotcha in for Geo. So you basically have another brand new to the team. He may be the coach, but it's kind of the same thing with Dizzle. You may be the coach, but it's kind of hard to fit that puzzle piece in.
Yeah.
Because, you're just the guy that's like, okay, you guys kind of fucked up this. We need to fix this. Not, hey, I'm actually in the shit now. So we'll see how that goes. That game's definitely going to be one to watch. I'm going to take Cloud9 over EG just because they have the exact same roster. And I feel like Laxine is going to be out for blood. So we will see exactly how that one unfolds. But I'm saying Cloud9 goes to the final. And then I'm saying Rise Nation over Rogue.
Wow. You have a C9 Rise final?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
But Flynn, if this happens, I get renounced as a god, dude.
All right. I'll give you that.
The only reason I'm taking Rise over Rogue is because you kind of have the exact same thing for both teams going on. You have Vert coming in onto Rogue, and you have Ghost coming in onto Rise Nation. Now, I'm not saying Ghost is a Vert. I'm not saying that. But Rise adding Ghost to where you have a little bit more structure, with everyone working together, their team looked really, really good. Granted, they didn't look good on Consulate and the CCS game that I casted, but they looked really, really solid on Coastline. Their setups, their executions, everything looked really, really clean cut. And I feel like them boot camping a little bit before Nationals, as well as just getting those scrims in before leaving, is definitely going to help out. And Ghost is definitely an easy player to work with. So I feel like they are going to be coming in pretty hot, and especially after the first day, after that Space Station game where they kind of are going to be stretched to the limit in order to win that. I feel like they're going to be ready for the titan of a team that is Rogue. So I feel like they're going to come in extremely, extremely hot, especially, again, being the last game of the day. They are going to be warm, as well as Rogue is going to be warm. That is going to be another one that is really up to what the fuck is going to happen on these maps. So I think Rise is going to cut it out on Rogue, and they're going to go to the grand final against C9. And then I'm going to take, as much as it's going to hurt me to say this, I'm going to take Rise over C9 in the grand final.
Wow. That is a lot of upsets.
Yes, it is.
I'll be interested to see if any of that comes true. If any of that happens, I'm going to lose my mind.
I'm going to throw this out there right now, guys. Anytime that we do these predictions, I'm probably going to be the person that does the Cinderella story shit because I am addicted to that shit. I love it. Like the Miami game, we're gonna go to football for a second. The Miami game that just happened, Flynn, the fucking Music City Miracle, baby, back on the Patriots. You love to see it. Get fucked, Tom Brady. All right, like I love to see that shit, man.
Yeah, but everyone likes to watch the Patriots lose, except for Patriots fans. The rest of the world loves watching the Patriots lose.
Fuck them. It's like any Pittsburgh team. Fuck them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fuck them. You know.
So those are our predictions for USN. I just wanted to dive into a little bit, or a few more of like the storylines going in, because we were talking about them with Jump, and they spiked my interest. I forgot about a couple of them. So the first one that was brought up was that I think it was K9 and Trippin. It was either I can't remember if it was Neptunes and Trip or K9 and Trip.
It's K9 and Trippin.
K9 and Trippin, who both said they were gonna fucking retire after USN. They said they were done. They said they weren't gonna do CL again after the CL playoff collapse, and they didn't make it into Pro League. That's huge, honestly. This being their last run, man, you got a lot in the tank. I mean, I just said Cloud9 was gonna beat them, but you got a group of guys who have been through the ringer multiple times in multiple Pro League seasons, and they have nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose. That's a scary team to play. Like, Cloud9's gonna have a hell of a matchup in the first round.
Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of why I picked that stuff. I mean, as much as we go, you know, for instance, like the Team Sinister stuff, everyone's gonna really overlook that, but you also got to remember this. I'm pretty sure everyone remembered this because a lot of the clips got posted to Twitter and everywhere, and YouTube with the whole Yardy situation and all that stuff. Oof. But Strength really stretching out Obey and just really showing what a stack of people that are just absolute gunners can do, especially when they don't play to the quote unquote Pro League format of how maps usually go. And Team Sinister can definitely do that. That is a stack of people that have a lot of gun skill and knowledge of the game. And honestly, that really could go Team Sin's way if they're able to kind of take the same formula that Strength went and say, all right, we're just going to try and just play our game and just gun as much as possible off of the weirdest shit we possibly can. And, you know, that's the beauty of these tournaments. People show up that day and you really don't know what they have in store. It's kind of like Invitational with EG when they whipped out that fucking bank strat and everyone was like, what the fuck is this? So we'll see, man. I'm definitely excited for every single game. If the Team Sinister game goes how we think it's going to go, then that's really not going to be anything to really watch.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have a fucking treat at the end of the day, man.
Well, the one thing that I'm kind of flashing back to right now is Rio. You have EG and Rogue against Norengo and Fnatic. Fnatic without a fifth and playing with their coach in. They did not adhere to logic, we'll say, in that game against EG, and they fucking dumpstered EG. You try and pull that same kind of mentality. Apparently it works. Apparently, if you throw all convention by the wayside and just start gunning, play it like ranked, no cohesion, no strategy, no coordination, no teamwork, just 5 people running around with their heads cut off, doing whatever the hell they want. Man, it's been effective in the last couple tournaments that we've seen, and it could be the same story for Sinister against Rogue. My only thing is I don't think they have even the same level of gun skill to match up against Rogue. I think if Rogue, we talked about with Jump about how Rogue probably don't want to be drawn into that kind of madness. They don't want to play that kind of unstructured ranked game against Sinister because it will devolve into chaos. But even if it does turn into this fucking Call of Duty nonsense mishmash, I still have a feeling that Rogue will pull it out, even if it turns into something asinine like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you legitimately just think about this for a second. You go, and this is honestly something we didn't even talk about Jump with, and I feel like we might need to go back. I definitely know that Parker and Zeronic are going to mention this, but we didn't talk about Slash Hug, dude. oh my god, like you got Slash, Shuttle, and Vert. If you want 3 people to just shut their brains off and murder everything that peaks, that's 3 people that'll definitely do it. And Eclipse. I mean, that entire roster right there,
and easily.
Just if you want them, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say.
The whole team's fucking gunners, dude.
If the first map, like you see some shit by Team Sin, and Ranger goes, "Hey guys, just turn your fucking brains off."
Yep.
And they just turn their brains off and go, "All right, boys, it's fucking Frag Central, baby. This is America." Whoa! And just start shooting everybody. There's no way that Team Sinister can stand up to that force of nature that is Rogue. Especially with Vert now. Oh my god. I actually hope it gets to that point, dude. I want to see Vert just play Ash and murder everybody's soul. Like
it'd be a good time. It would be a good time.
Yeah, it's actually hard to just say, yeah, I definitely want to cast this game because there's so much good that can come out of all these games.
Oh, there'd be so much anarchy.
Oh, man.
I'd love to be like, I would. So I know we haven't worked out like who's casting what game, and we'll work that out when we get there. Games I want to cast in the quarters, probably Rogue Sinisters at the top, just because of how absolutely insane it. I think the 2 games I would want to cast would be Cloud9 E-Gang for just, I don't know, the lack of any kind of I guess future plans for Elephant Gang. Like they're gonna dissolve after this tournament, unless Super wouldn't even count though, would he? He would have had to play in 50% of the Challenger League games to qualify to keep their 3/5. Yikes, they might not even do that.
I think he did.
Did he play in 50% of them?
I feel like that's relatively the number.
I thought he left right before.
He joined Rogue. He joined Rogue like right at the halfway point, I feel.
No. He joined right before CL even started, because CL started right after DreamHack Montreal, and he was on Rogue at DreamHack Montreal.
Oh yeah, so they're fucked.
Yeah,
they got to go right back their qualifiers.
Yeah,
you're right.
They've lost Ghost and Trip and K9. Well, I guess they could pull the fucking, we're gonna have a guy play for 1 game, and then that satiates 3/5, and then pick someone else up. But if Trip and K9 are true about retiring, like they're done, then that team is gonna look entirely different next season in Challenger League for the guys who still want to grind it out. We also talked about like Accelerate maybe making roster moves, and there are plenty of choices to be had on Elephant Gang as far as and Disrupt, to be honest. Those top 2 CL teams looked pretty prime for maybe Accelerate to start cherry picking. But now we're getting back into conversation we had last week. Anything else we want to kind of wrap up on as far as USN predictions? I think the 2 games I would want to cast out of the quarters are Cloud9 E-Gang and Rogue Sinister, just because of the chaos. I'd rather sit and watch the EG X Noble and Space Station Rise games, just to kind of like delve into the analysis a little bit more and not have to focus on casting. But
I'm the same way though, so now we're fucked,
yeah, because we're not gonna be together.
Be us like, no, you cast.
Yeah,
no, you cast.
Yeah, it's not like I really want to cast this. It's like, no, you, Sam, go cast the game, Sam, go do it, get on the stage, go. God damn it!
Oh my goodness, this is gonna be a fantastic event. I went to the barber today, and the guy was like, "What?" Because I was like, you know what, clean up the beard a little bit. I want the black mask. So I don't have any, I actually put my hand over my face. I really did not do that while I'm talking to Mike. I was like, I want the black mask, get everything out of my face, so I'm, nice and pretty for everyone. So the baby blues are really shining,
All right.
And that's the main thing on, on stage. I was like, I'm gonna get the hard part and all that shit, dude. We got it done up real good. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Right when I get there, I feel like Flynn's gonna call me some heinous things for paying attention so much to my face. I feel like he's gonna call me a girly girl or something like that.
Probably.
Like,
I mean, did you borrow your girlfriend's makeup or?
Dude, I actually, I did. I made sure to grab the powder, but she's not nearly as white as I am, so.
Yeah. It's okay. They'll do our makeup for us. We'll get all dolled up for the USN desk. Don't you worry.
Great. It's gonna be great, dude. I'm excited. I'm really excited. So
yeah, it's gonna be a fun event.
Dude, and the greatest thing about this is, once again, guys, if you guys are just getting into this, because I know a lot of people are like, oh man, we really didn't listen to the first episode. I got a couple of those, but we're really excited for the new one. This is my first cast at a live event, and that I'm also getting paid for. So It's a lot of pressure, but I'm good under pressure. I'm not really worried about it. I don't really care about, stuttering or anything like that. I know people know it's my first event. So, the bar isn't set extremely high. I still want to pass that bar. Obviously, I have a high expectation of myself, but just the sheer amount of competition that's here because we didn't have any PL days this week.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is gonna be a highly looked at event because people don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. And I'm so excited.
Gonna be good. So with that, I think we're gonna wrap up USN because we talked about it in every single episode so far. Yeah. So we will be in Vegas on Thursday. I haven't decided yet if we will do a live episode from Vegas or not. Simply because I wouldn't know how to record it and piece it together while we're there. My best suggestion would be for us to both pull out our phones and hit record on like a voice memo at the same time. And then I can stitch it together on my laptop and upload it that night. That's kind of like my only idea as far as getting an episode together, like fully done in Vegas. If not, we may just cancel the Thursday episode and wait until we get back to break down, because there's probably going to be the same situation again, as far as no news coming out and no Pro League days being played by Thursday, because there's been no fucking announcement by now, and I haven't seen anything about EU or LATAM starting up tomorrow or on Thursday. So it'll be tricky. I'll keep you guys updated on Twitter if we are going to do a Thursday episode or not, simply because the logistics are going to be difficult. Yeah, that's my only thing with Thursday's episode. It might be a little tricky to do. But we have also, speaking of Twitter, reached out to you guys for some questions, and Stokes is flooding my DMs with them right now. So we want to do a bit of a Q&A, simply to try and answer some of the things you guys wanted to hear from us. I don't really know where to start with these. There's quite a few of them that intrigue me. I don't really know what I want to start with. We are also going to do like a little bit of an origin story breakdown later on in the episode, just to kind of wrap up the episode. Just kind of telling you guys like where we're from, what we did to get to this point, where we're looking to go with this, what our like history is, stuff like that, just so you can better get to know us. I think this question is actually a pretty good one. This comes from Ollie. Do you think they should add another division/league before Challenger League because of the closing gap between PL and CL? And I'll let, if you're listening, Stokes, I will let you take that one first.
All right. Do you think they should add another division league before CL because the closing gap between PL and CL?
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like Challenger League right now is more or less the minor leagues of Pro League. That's basically what it's set up as.
Yeah.
So honestly, I think that would be kind of a good idea, because it's kind of, they have, for instance, like we'll use the MLB for instance. You have major leagues, you have the Cubs and all that stuff, and you have feeder teams that play in a lower end bracket. I feel like if there was more or less like a quote unquote college level, kind of in there to more or less feed into that. I feel like people use CCS right now as kind of that feeder, but as you guys have seen with this season of CCS, there's a lot of Pro League teams in CCS. So it's gotten to the point where CCS is actually very difficult to get into. But honestly, I can definitely see where the benefits are from that, because it makes it to where teams have a lot, well, not only teams, but players have a area to improve their skill, and you'll really stand out amongst the competition in that area to get picked up to another team, and then hopefully that team moves up, and so on and so forth, to where we do get a higher level of play from players that are able to build upon themselves up to that certain point. So I can definitely see where the benefits come through. But the other thing is, then ESL, if that is the way they want to do it, has to facilitate another set of casters and another set of people behind the veil in order to make that work, which is going to require another set of budget and so on and so on. Granted, CL budget is pretty fucking low at this point. I'm not gonna lie to you.
$0.
Yeah, $0.
We don't get paid for CL, by the way. Yeah. If anyone was questioning that, or that we volunteer our time to cast Challenger League, we do not get paid. We do it because A, it's a good platform for us and our personal Twitch channels. And then number 2, because we enjoy casting and it's the next best thing we can get compared to Pro League, and then one-off events like this. As the B Leaguers, we don't really get to go and have like a lot of top tier competition unless it's in CCS week in, week out. So that's why we cast CCS, or sorry, Challenger League and CCS. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we do not get paid anything for casting CL. And I think I'm in the same kind of boat with you with, regarding that question. I'm actually going to say no. Simply because of the logistic reasons behind it. Mm-hmm. ESL has not upped the prize pool for Challenger League. If not ever, then in a very long time. I pretty sure $5,000 has been the prize pool ever since Challenger League was made. And that was kind of the touching point that I went on about the whole why are Pro League teams in CCS, and my response to that was, well, why wouldn't Pro League teams participate in a league where it's better than anything else they can really look at? I mean, the grand prize pool for USN is $50,000, and it's 3 times as long as a CCS season now, considering CCS seasons just got cut down to 7 weeks compared to 14. And USN has been running since July, and our finals are in December now. $10,000 is a big prize pool, and when the CL prize pool doesn't get boosted in comparison to what Pro League is, in comparison to other community leagues, CCS does not get paid. Well, some of the people get paid through like sponsorships and stuff, and casters have just started getting paid a very, very minuscule amount of money. By the way, I'm not going to disclose what it is, but a very, very, very minuscule amount of money for casting CCS this season. So there is like a little bit of profit being made in CCS, but for the most part, everyone there donates their time. Very similarly to Challenger League, except the prize pool has never been up by ESL for Challenger League, and that was my gripe with why everyone was so mad at CCS. It's like, why are you mad at the league that has always hosted themselves open to everybody, but you're not angry at another league that has never progressed and developed and evolved into something bigger, like Challenger League? It stayed the same all the time. The money is inconsequential. The prize is getting into Pro League, and that's what Challenger League stands for. And it should be both. Number 1, for org representation, because the bigger the prize pool, or just the bigger the funding in general for Challenger League, the more eyes we have on Challenger League. This was the first season where every game was streamed. Before this season, there was basically no CL coverage. Like, Emza would donate his time sometime. There would be a couple people who would try, like, I think Rams used to cast CL games back in the day. Earlier this year and last year, when he had the off time to do so, but it wasn't every game being casted. We had no Twitter support. The R6 Pro League and ESL Rainbow Six Twitter accounts never tweeted out anything about Challenger League. There was never any social media promotion. No one was able to follow it on the Reddit. You basically just had to go through the ESL tournament page and look at all of the results and say, oh, this is what happened. And you couldn't watch the games. You couldn't see why things were happening. You'd never hear about roster changes for CL teams. I think only recently Wikipedia has started tracking those, like super in depth, and it's become like a mainstay thing on the Pro League subreddit as well, like Challenger League teams and rumors and roster moves and stuff like that, and performance. If Challenger League is gonna get bigger, it needs the exposure and needs the infrastructure to do so. So I don't see how in the hell we could add a 3rd league onto that when Challenger League doesn't even really get the support it deserves and needs to grow.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the one thing that really is my biggest gripe with it as well, is that we already don't have the funding for Challenger League. We don't even have a central channel for Challenger League.
No, we just do it on our personal channels.
Exactly, and that's one thing that everyone pointed out this season. Why is it on so many different channels? Well, 2 things. One, that's technically our form of payment, is getting a lot of viewers.
Yeah, getting a lot of viewers and possibly getting partnered out of it. Like, I almost got partnered off of streaming, and I didn't even have all the games from the season on my channel. We split them between my channel and Rams's. Mm-hmm. If I had all the games on the season on my channel, I definitely would have got partnered on Twitch off of it, which would be ad revenue from streaming, which would be future expansion into Twitch and stuff. So that's kind of like our payment. So that's why we did it on our personals, and there was no primary universal channel provided to us. They just said, put it up on your own channels for your own exposure. We literally got paid in exposure in 2018 when everyone tells you to never get paid in exposure.
Yep.
Welcome to Casting Siege, guys. You want to be a Siege caster, get used to doing a lot of work for literally no money.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. I won't talk about obviously the organization that asked me to do this, but I got asked by this organization to basically cast their league that was going to be in Vegas, and I was like, what's the compensation? Like, free. And I was like, okay, well, I need some form of compensation. I was like, I don't even care if it's like you get me a gaming share. Like, I don't give a shit. You get, like, I don't care. Like, whatever it is. And they're like, oh no, we can't do that. I was like, okay, like,
and don't talk to me.
I mean, yeah, if you
fuck out of my DMs.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and like what Flynn said, this is a B Leaguers podcast for a reason. I'm not a top tier caster. I'm legitimately the newest caster to hit the scene. Like, that's a new name. Blue is from CS. Everyone's from every other aspect of, other games. I started in Siege. Obviously that goes into the background of whatever, but I'm the newest quote unquote face to Rainbow Six Siege for casting that is from Rainbow Six. So, it's really, really hard, man. For a year and a half, I started casting at the beginning of January in 2017. So basically, like right around my birthday, I started casting, and I have never been paid since then. It's just fun to me, man. I like talking. I enjoy it. That's why we made a podcast. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just love this game, and I understand it on a competitive level. So that's why I started. And, now they're fucking paying me to go to Vegas, bro. So fuck it. I don't give a shit. So
yeah, to wrap up the question, so we'll stay on topic. We'll try not to ramble off into weird tangents.
Oh man, us, dude.
I do not think they should add a third league before Challenger League. Whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know, the Pretenders League, the Contenders League, the Preschool League. I don't fucking care what you call it. The league before Challenger League that's hosted by ESL will never be an eventuality unless there is actual support given to the lower leagues. Because Challenger League right now doesn't even get the support it deserves. So to add a third onto that would just be anarchy.
Yeah, basically, for the people that are newer to Siege competitive, we are technically still in the honeymoon phase of esports for Rainbow Six Siege, if you compare it to other esports. So League of Legends has been around for a very long time. Counter-Strike, the longest of time. The Counter-Strike is one of the oldest esports. So we are still in the honeymoon phase of this. We don't have, B tier teams and then A tier teams and all that stuff, kind of like CS, where, you got your Astralises, and then you got down to like your CLGs, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, where there's a very huge gap. Basically, everyone on Pro League is an A tier team, and then you have your B League team like hopping up from Challenger League, and it's just one of them. Like, that's relatively it. Everyone else in Challenger League is relatively a band of friends that are good at the game and are like, hey, we can play this, and they made it to Challenger League. That we're still at that honeymoon phase of Rainbow Six Siege. But moving on to the next one, I guess I'll pick this next one.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's do this one. This one, when I saw it, actually made me really get nostalgic about the game. So this one comes from @AlexGZZGA, Alex Gizga, however you want to say it, on Twitter. Favorite land to watch in Siege's history, Flynn.
Oh, you want me to go first? I'm still thinking about it.
You threw it to me the first time on the other one, so get fucked.
I give you a much longer intro than that, you motherfucker.
Okay, favorite land to watch in Siege's history, Flynn. I know that there's been a lot of lands that have happened.
I've seen them all. So I don't know.
I'm trying to give you a long intro here.
Okay.
Across Xbox and PC, there's been so many roster movements, so many name changes, so many new orgs, so many orgs leaving. There's been so much action in Rainbow Six Siege.
Okay, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Flynn, stop with your filling. It's a little bit of a cliche because of how popular it is. But it was year 1, season 3 in Katowice. I was actually working on a big production video for this event because I love it so much. And I will actually be doing an actual video before Invite about last Invitational, about the 2018 Invitational. And hopefully it turns out okay. In 2018, Invite was the best LAN to, like, it was my first LAN that I ever went to. It was my first esports event I ever went to. And thankfully I got paid to go, because I definitely could not afford it to go on my own dime last year, and I can barely afford to go on my own dime this year if I'm not being paid to again, so we'll see how that goes. But Year 1 Season 3 was the first Siege LAN that I watched live. I went back and watched the other two, but I didn't really get into Pro League and following Pro League until the beginning. Like, basically it was the off season between Year 1 Season 2 and Year 1 Season 3. That's when I really got into Siege's esport aspect. Year 1 Season 3, where CTM against Playing Ducks, and we'll get to talk to Zeronic in Vegas, so I might pop a question about it to him. I don't know if he'll punch me or actually enjoy the conversation. But holy shit, that fucking event was insane. The games were so back and forth, and a lot of Pro League games back in Year 1 were very, very back and forth. But it was the first one I watched live on Twitch, like, looking at chat and stuff. I don't even remember how many viewers it had, but it was a fucking low number compared to what we have now. And the CTM P-Ducks game in the grand finals was massive. That game will forever be etched in my mind, and there's one moment that really blows me away that I can't believe, like, just the drama behind it. I can't believe we haven't had something similar to this as far as drama and, like, suspense goes. But it wasn't the final round where Necrox hits the flank upstairs through kitchen. That one is iconic and immortalized. 3 rounds... Was it 3? Yeah, 3 rounds before that. The last round in regulation... or the second last round, sorry, in regulation... where CTM was defending Teller's Archives on Bank. So they weren't defending downstairs like they were in the final round of overtime and on that map. They're defending Teller's Archives. Troy is Valkyrie, and he's upstairs inside of CEO meeting room. Or not the meeting room, the one to the right of the meeting room. Anyway, he's looking down through the floorboards towards right Teller's door, and he kills someone through the floor on a kill hole. And they win the round. And he's holding that angle for the entirety of the round. Then there's a tactical timeout, or not. They weren't even called tac timeouts back then. Just like a technical pause. Someone went to the admins and was like, "What the fuck is this?" So they stop everything, and we didn't know if it was like a PC fucking up. We didn't know if it was like someone, I don't know, they had a gripe with the round or something. We didn't know what was going on, right? So for a couple minutes, Kix and Panky are stalling because they don't know what's going on either. They're getting calls in their ear from production about, like, you know, keep stalling, couple more minutes. And then finally, they send it to a break. And they kept adding time onto the clock on the break. It was like 8 minutes at first, then they added another 7, then they added another 3, then another 4. Like, the timer kept hitting 0, and they just put more time back up on there. 30 minutes later, they finally come back to studio. And it's Kix and Panky at the desk. And Panky says the most heartbreaking shit ever, which is that the kill hole that Troy used looking down through the floor to right Teller's desk, or right Teller's door, was a one-way kill hole, and they took the round away from CTM. And then CTM lost the round and pushed it into and P-Ducks pushed it into overtime. That moment, that 30-minute window of suspense and not knowing what the fuck is going on, because we think CTM's got this in the bag, they're up another round, it's all fine, everything's good. They have to replay the round on the same site with the same ops, and now P-Ducks are ready for it, and they get wiped in the next round. Just that instant turnaround from, like, CTM on top, 1 round away from finishing it all, and then back to overtime we go. And then obviously they trade overtime rounds back and forth, and then Necrox hits his flank up top, and it's fucking insane. But that moment, that 30-minute window where there was just no information and we're all panicking, God, I'll remember that for the rest of my life. That was an insane fucking LAN to watch.
Honestly, You literally made me a little bit nostalgic right there. Yeah, really sent me back there. For
I know, right?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, because like again, I've told you, like my main focus on all of Pro League didn't really come until like year 2, where I really started paying attention.
Yeah.
So I would just watch them like, oh yeah, like you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And all of mainly year 1 and all that time was more or less just me focusing on Xbox and really trying to pay attention to that. And even then, I really wasn't that deep into it yet. I was more or less just focused on me and trying to get to that level. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And sending it back to that, I would say my biggest LAN that I've ever watched, because actually, guys, I've never been to a Rainbow Six event ever. My only event that I've ever went to for esports was Call of Duty in New Orleans of last year, for Team Caliber winning their back-to-back events. And that's the only time Team Caliber has ever won events ever. So they won their first one, which was Dallas, I want to say. And then they went and won in New Orleans. And that I actually have one of their jerseys from then, from the New Orleans one. So I've got the winning roster of Team Caliber, which Team Caliber doesn't even have a COD team anymore. So that jersey's worth a decent amount of money to a COD fan. So, but I'm going to keep it because I love those guys. And I've always loved Team Caliber. But anyways, my favorite Rainbow Six LAN to watch would be Six Invitational of 2017. And
really, the first invite?
And Flynn's gonna know where I'm going with this as soon as I say it.
What, the skyscraper game that was just anarchy?
It is Elevate versus Vitality.
Oh, what? The Xbox portion?
Yeah,
dude, yeah, I didn't give a singular fuck about the Xbox portion of the first invite.
But I was on Xbox, and that has one of the best freakouts of any team ever winning anything that Rainbow has seen. And it's
wasn't that a 10-0?
Yes, it was. It was.
Why would that be your best game to watch? That's a dumbass game to watch.
That's my cliche one. Okay, like I just love it because I just love the
oh my
the picture
god,
of, the picture of Skies freaking out is like one of my favorite Rainbow Six pictures. But my actual just overall favorite LAN to watch of all time, that was just like my favorite because of Xbox. But my favorite one would be the Rio Cinderella story events.
Sao Paulo, but yeah.
Sao Paulo. Sorry.
Yep. Year 2, season 3.
Brazil. Yeah.
Yep.
Brazil. Year 2, season 3. The Cinderella story of ENCE beating Black.
They finally won something.
And man, Wilkie is my heart and soul, man. I love that guy so much.
Dude, if I ever meet Wilkie, I just want to hug him. I want to hug him.
Dude, he's such a fantastic human being, and that man cares so much. Like,
oh yeah,
I know it's a meme now, but that picture of him crying after he got back into Pro League, dude, that just shows you how much heart that man has in this game, and I fucking love it. I love you, Wilkie. If you ever listen to this, dude, I fucking love you. I hope I get to shake your goddamn hand one day, you beautiful son of a bitch.
I hope I get to hug him. God. I just want to. I just want to wrap my arms around him. Yes.
Just we have one big group hug, dude. We'll get a Shate in there with us. We'll hug it out, dude. It's gonna be great. But that right there, especially after they won that, and you could just see in Wilkie's eyes how much that meant to that man. That almost brought tears to my eyes seeing that. That right there, almost that was my favorite LAN to watch of all time. And if we're going outside of Rainbow Six Siege, my favorite LAN to watch of all time is the Boston Major when Cloud9 won. I fucking cried. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, I watched that. I just didn't give a shit because I don't know anything about Counter-Strike.
I followed Cloud9 for so long, and Stewie is one of my favorite players of all time. Him and Skadoodle. I'm not gonna lie to you. I legitimately cried. Like, that meant so much to me that they beat the super team that is FaZe, and just seeing Stewie finally.
You're a Cloud9 fanboy on multiple platforms.
I am, dude. I love Cloud9. I love everything about it. I love that they don't jump regions. Fuck everybody. It's North America. Let's go. So let's go.
All right.
But yeah, dude, but that's it. So you pick the next one. I'm getting a phone call right now. Hold on 1 second.
All right, I guess I'm gonna have to pick the question and answer it off rip. Let me scroll through some of these. Maybe we got some new ones on Twitter. Actually, I'm gonna scroll through my mentions on Twitter and see what's going on there, just to see if there's been any new questions asked. There haven't, unfortunately.
All right, give me 3 minutes. Let's go.
All right. All right. I'll do the easy one because it'll softball us into the last portion of the show, which is, what got you into Siege from Prismatic is Me. Hopefully Stokes copy and pasted that correctly or spelt it out correctly. If not, then Stokes is an idiot. What got me into Siege? Like I've said a couple times, both on here and on stream before, I've been playing Siege since the beta. I played the open beta with my friend Cody on PlayStation 4, so I'm also a console convert. I just don't care about console and never did. All you Xbox guys, you still talk about Xbox like it's fucking gospel. It's Bible. Gives a shit, man. I come from console too. I just don't hold it in reverence because it was not the superior platform, and evidenced by a PC Pro League being the only Pro League left around. Still a superior platform, and I converted, dude. I used to be a console player. PC is the superior platform for true competitive gameplay. But anyway, what got me into Siege is honestly just my friend Cody. He had the beta for, I think, a few hours before me. I got home from school, and because I was still in high school at the time. Jesus. Wait, was I? 2015? Yeah, I think I was. Maybe? I don't know. 2015. That would have been a year after my surgery. Surgery was in senior... Yeah, that was when I was... So I wasn't actually in school. I was enrolled in online classes. But anyway. So I guess I was just around the house, and he got up before me or whatever and was playing the beta, and he told me to download it. So I download the beta, and we start, fucking around. You still had to buy operators back then, even in the beta, so you had to farm enough renown to actually get ops unlocked, even in the beta. So we all started as recruits, and the iron sights on every gun was fucking terrible. And we didn't know what destruction was, and we didn't know how the maps worked. We didn't know basically anything other than it's a first-person shooter. It's basically search and destroy from Call of Duty, but it's a one-shot headshot mechanic for every gun in the game. That's all we kind of knew about it, and we went in with open eyes and open minds, and we started playing non-stop in the beta, like 3 days straight of the beta. We played, I don't remember how many games it was, but I think it was upwards of 40 games straight on House. And we didn't know that there were 2 other maps in the fucking beta. We thought it was just House 24/7 because we got like 40 straight games. We played for 3 days straight, probably for like 5 or 6 hours a night on the beta, and we never got another map other than House. So we're just running. We're running House, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes Hereford, the OG Hereford, and we fucking lose our minds. We're like, oh shit, there's other maps in the game. What the fuck do we do? So that was fun. And then the beta was interesting. The beta was in November. And then the game officially came out December 1st, and I bought it off rip. Just the day it came out, bought it, downloaded it, started playing some casual with my friends. Convinced another friend to get it, so it was me, Cody, and another friend who were all grinding out some casual games. And we didn't really play ranked all that much in the first season, and we all like collectively took a break as soon as like Black Ice came out. So Black Ice came out in like February, I want to say, of 2016, something like that. We all took a break for like the entire season of Black Ice. We really didn't play. We played here and there in Black Ice, but we never really like grinded out the game or anything and played like we used to. When the game first came out, and then later on. But as soon as Dustline rolled around in the spring of 2016, we started grinding it out again, non-stop. We got another friend on board. We had a 4-stack going all the time. We were crushing like 40, 50 hours a week of Siege back in Dustline. And that's when the auto shotties were fucking terrible, and Pulse was insane, and everyone had a Nitro Cell, and Nitro Cells they were basically pocket nukes. It was bad time. 800 HP Blackbeard Shield, and we still played like 40 to 50 hours a week of that fucking nonsensical game. So I played on console for the first year, and then right around the end of Red Crow, so it was like basically this time in 2016, a couple weeks before Christmas, I had just quit my job. I had been working at a furniture store. I was making pretty pretty good money, and I was transitioning into doing my own like contract, like videography and photography and editing. I really wanted to pursue that as a career. So I was transitioning into that, but my PC at the time was garbage. So I was looking into getting a really good PC. It's still the same fucking PC I still run right now and I'm recording on right now and using. So it's been great. And I initially got it for work. I had already talked to a company about doing some contract work for them, so like promotional shots, so doing like a photo shoot for them for like an ad campaign, and then doing like some stock footage for their website and stuff. So I already knew that I was in the door, and I had a lot of money built up from working my old job after I quit. So I sprung on a PC, and that's where I met. I was perusing Twitch one day. I didn't really watch a lot of Twitch back then. I didn't watch people stream the game. I watched some YouTube videos, but I didn't really watch many people stream the game. And that's when I met my friend Chase, Not Loading. You might know him throughout the community and stuff. I don't know. I saw him streaming one day, and I just popped in his chat and said hello, and he invited me into like his Discord and stuff, and we started talking to each other. And I didn't have the new computer yet, so I was still playing. I was still playing on my old piece of shit, like Best Buy fucking $500 PC that I had for plenty of years before that. I think 3 or 4 years before that is when I bought it in like my first year of high school, I think freshman year of high school. So it was old and it was bad and it did not run Siege well, but I bought Siege for PC as well. And I used my controller on PC for a very long time. A disgraceful amount of time, actually. I think it was for the first like 2 weeks to a month of playing Siege on PC with a controller, and it was bad. And I really only ever played casual because Chase was a diamond, and I definitely did not need to be pulled in diamond rank games back then with a fucking controller getting 20 FPS. So we're playing a lot, we're playing a lot of casual and stuff and grinding it out. And then one day, he invites me, my very first ranked game on PC, which was with a controller. He invites me into a squad with Macy. So my very first ranked game of all time was with Macy in a double diamond game on ranked, and it was on Favela, and I went like 2-9, and we won the game in overtime, 5-4. And from there, I was hooked. I got my new PC for work. It's a beast. If you go to my stream, you can check the specs on it. And I've been playing Siege on PC ever since. Yeah, I've been, like I said in the last podcast, I've been Diamond for 5 straight seasons, I think. 6 straight seasons, something like that. Ever since Blood Orchid. Blood Orchid was my first season Diamond on PC. So it's been a while now. And yeah, I don't know, I fell in love with the game real quick. And then as far as the esport aspect, I talked about it, talking about like my favorite LAN. Year 1 Season 3 was what really got me into the competitive aspect and trying to learn about Pro League. And Siege just kind of came naturally. It was the next stepping stone for me to focus on, the next hobby, the next thing I really wanted to dive into and make my own, and really devote all of my possible free time to. Every single day I would come home and be like, I want to play some Siege. And it's still that way. Like, I still like playing the game. It's gotten a little worse these days, as far as operators coming out and stuff and maps and how ranked plays these days. But it's still the game I love. It's still a game I remember. I doubt, honestly, until Ubisoft shuts off like all server support for the game, I don't think I'll ever stop playing it. I don't think I'll ever stop casting it. There's something about it, man. It just hooks you. And I think there's a lot of people out there who can relate to that. And I still don't think Stokes is back, so I guess I'm going to continue rambling. I'm actually going to go do another question while I wait for him. Let's do this one. In your opinion, what is the main reason that other regions seemingly fail to compete against EU on the main stage at events? From SND Bags. What is the main reason other regions seemingly fail to compete against EU on the main stage at events? Well, I think the first thing you got to look at is the competition level in EU is, I don't think it's an opinion to say that it's better in EU. I think it's almost a fact now that the competition level is better in EU overall. Whether you're looking at Pro League, you're looking at Challenger League, you're looking at their CCS teams, or you're looking at ranked in general, EU is just a stronger region in general, and it's been that way in Siege since the very beginning. EU has always been the strongest region in Siege, and that has never been a fact that's changed. CTM definitely tried their best to try and bring it back to NA, but evidenced by them not winning a single damn thing for a very long time, yeah, it's still EU. I don't think it's ever actually stopped being EU, considering Ensign Penta in year 2, and now in year 3, it's just nothing but G2. So, look, we got Atlantic City. But G2 was in the finals, and NA was nowhere to be seen. So, I don't think it's a stretch to say that EU definitely has the best competition level, and when you're playing inside of that closed group all the time, you play against what your competition level allows you to play against. So in NA, teams in NA all scrim each other. They all play against each other all the time in the same league, whether it's Pro League, Challenger League, Ranked, CCS, whatever the fuck you want to talk about. They all play each other in the same region. Same thing goes for EU, but they have a better competition level, so they get to practice against better teams always, because the whole of them are better as a region. I don't think it's that other regions are failing to compete on main stages. I think EU is just ahead of the curve. I think they define metas first and foremost. I know in NA there are a few teams who really try to define meta, at least on this side of the ocean, but EU really does set the tone for what a lot of teams like to mimic and bring to the table themselves. And EU has been a mainstay champion for a very long time, and I don't think there's going to be a lot that can be done to dethrone EU as far as competition level goes and championships, up until we get to the point where another region starts to rival that talent pool as an entire region. Because EU is the strongest region through and through. Their depth is insurmountable as far as other regions go. APAC certainly doesn't have the depth. We see Fnatic and Norarengo every time. LATAM, you've got 3 to 4 strong teams, and the rest are arguably Challenger League teams. NA, we're getting better in NA, but it's definitely nowhere near EU's level as far as competition level goes. So I think it's not even about EU dominating on a stage, it's about EU dominating overall. Their competition level and their compete level is a lot higher than every other region. And it's going to take time and a lot of evolution and a lot of patience for the other regions to catch up. And Stokes, you're back.
Yeah, I am. And honestly, I agree with the whole thing. I've been here for about like 3 minutes now.
Okay.
But I mean, with EU, G2 really set the tone for that entire region. Everybody had to play catch up. And you play against the team enough, you learn from, all those times that you played them. So that's what why EU is so good, is because they have G2, and you just have teams that have to play them every single season. And every single time you play an elite team, you learn something new. And that's really what has set the tone for EU to be the best in Rainbow Six Siege. We kind of have that over here in North America with EG, but EG kind of falters off sometimes. And, that's more or less an amazing team in a region always sets pace for the rest of the region. So that is really what, that happened. Anyways, what happened was my roommate got a brand new Mustang, 2015 Hearst, and he was like, come outside, because I heard that he was going to the car dealership today. And he's like, come outside. And I was like, okay. Because he was supposed to be going tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I came outside, and like I get to my door, and all I hear is, I was like, oh my fucking God. And I opened the door, and I see this nice ass silver Mustang. So, and then other thing, while I was walking back inside, because I was like, oh yeah, I looked at the car. I was like, cool, run back inside. This fucking dog runs up to me, drops a ball, and I'm like, where the fuck is your owner? So I like chuck the ball, and I'm like looking around, because my apartment is 3 levels. It's got stairs that go up top. I'm like looking up at the other levels. I was like, where the fuck is your owner at? Because I've seen the dog before. It's like, okay. So I just started throwing the ball. I was like, TJ, I don't know where the fuck this dog's owner is, dude. He's like, I don't fucking know. And he comes outside. He's like, thanks for wearing her out for me. I was like, you're a dick. Thanks for leaving your dog outside, you fuck. So, but I'm back. Anyways, which question did you answer? What got you into Siege? Or did you do your backstory?
I did both. I didn't do my backstory, but I did what got me into Siege. And I also did the EU versus NA thing. I did both the questions because you weren't here by the time I ended the first one. So feel free to take the stage, take the floor, and just, I guess, list off what got you into Siege, because you just commented on the EU thing.
All right. So basically, we already covered the EU thing. So what got me into Siege is actually my dad. So my dad is the one who got me into Rainbow Six as a whole. I got myself into Siege because of Rainbow Six. So I played all the original Vegases. I played Rainbow Six Vegas, Rainbow Six Vegas 2 with my dad. I used to run through the story modes on those all the fucking time, like every single weekend on the PlayStation 3 in my basement in Urbana, Iowa. So shout out to everyone at CPU if there's anybody there that plays Rainbow Six and is somehow listening to this podcast. But so yeah. Then, as everyone knows, Rainbow Six Patriots was supposed to come out, and it got canceled. And everyone was like, "What the fuck's going on with that?" Then Rainbow Six Siege got announced in place of Patriots, and I was like, "Oh, an online version of Rainbow Six that has destructibility like Battlefield and a bunch of ops that do different things, and that seems really, really cool." And so I played the beta. I was like, "This game's fucking awesome." Talked my friends into all getting it, and we all got the game and started playing it every single fucking night since the beginning of the game. And I didn't start playing competitive until Skull Rain because all my friends were done relatively with Siege. After the second season, they just kind of went off and started playing Chell and all that shit. So, but I stuck with it, and that's when I got into competitive, and I started playing competitive quite a bit. And my second team is actually a team that I made, and it was called Element Gaming. We started playing pretty well. Basically, a bunch of just friends of mine that I met in ranked. We made a team together, and we started doing Go Fours and stuff like that. And things were going really, really well. We did well in some Go Fours. I actually never really won a Go For until later on in the Go For existence. So the biggest notion there was we were actually scrimming a team made by Tonsky Flynn. If you remember who Tonsky is, he was a year one, season 2 pro. Yeah, a long time ago. We're actually scrimming his team. This is when Chalet was in the map pool, and this was right before qualifiers for, I think it was Pro League or Pro League for Xbox. And so there was a bunch of teams that were going to be in there. SOAR, everybody was going to be in this qualifier. And so we were scrimming to get ready for that. And we were scrimming Tonsky's team, and we played them on Chalet. Well, if anybody knows me from nerding out on maps, I know a lot of my friends know this, but I love writing up strats and all that kind of stuff. That's why, analytics wise, I can kind of pick apart what the fuck's going on into a strat and say, okay, this is why they're doing this. And, people are like, oh, I really didn't think about that. It's because I literally have an entire, I think it's 150-page notebook of just different things I thought of off the top of my head and I write it down real quick because otherwise I forget. I'm a note taker. So I have an entire
fucking
loose leaf page book of just shit I've written down. Well, my old favorite competitive map was Chalet, and I fucking loved Chalet, dude. I still love Chalet.
Me too.
And I really got into focusing on vertical play on that map. And back then, vertical play really wasn't in yet for Rainbow Six Siege. Like, people knew it was there, but it wasn't used how it is today, where everyone, like, that's the main focus is get that vertical play in to really open up sight and just murder everyone that's in there anchoring. Well, I designed a strat for Chalet where we took from the top and cleared down to push everybody down into sight. And then we would use fuse as well as other things, buck and all that stuff to really open up the floor up top and just murder everybody inside of wine. Like, I literally had things set up for the couch where you could line up and shoot people behind the table downstairs and everything else, to where the only room that they were really safe in inside of wine was the closet. And we would just thermite that open because we'd lock everybody in there. So we ended up scrimming Tonsky's team and just fucking murdered them. Because, like, honestly, obviously us going in there, like, we're going to get fucking our dicks handed to us by Tonsky's team because Tonsky's a former pro and he's playing with a lot of high tier level players. Well, we ended up beating them at the time. It was, I think it was like 5-2, which back then is a pretty much a fucking ass stomping. So we ended up beating them 5-2. And after that, we sent out GG because they only wanted to do one map off the bat. And GG, 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 whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I sent out GG to everybody. And obviously, I'm not going to name names here because it's a long fucking time ago. But Tonsky sends back GG. And then the rest of his players sent back, you guys play like fucking ranked players. You guys are just a bunch of bots, blah, 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 talking all this toxic shit. And we're like, okay, whatever. Like, we don't give a shit. Well, like a day after, 2 days after, Tonsky's team breaks up. And Tonsky contacts my friend Raikou and is like, hey, I want to play with your guys' team for the qualifier. We're like, okay. So we start playing with him, and we get decently into the qualifier. I think this is like round 3 or round 4, and we end up playing Soar, which it doesn't have Goddess or anybody on it. It's got, actually, I have a picture of it on my phone, so I can actually tell you guys the exact roster that we played and got our dick smashed in by. So just give me like literally 2 seconds here. I literally just got to scroll all the way to the top of my photos on my phone. I can tell you who it is.
Pretty sure we've all had that moment where we've been dicked by the Cloud9 roster in different iterations. I used to get blasted by Soar in ranked all the time. I still get blasted by C9 in ranked. It's a lot of fun, trust me.
Yeah, well, here you go. This was the roster. And actually, this goes all the way back to Ghost, because Ghost was on this roster. It was Redeemer, Ghost, Roz, Titan, and Beastly. I took a picture of them on my phone because I was so happy that we were playing them. And then we played them on Clubhouse and literally got fucking smashed because 3 drones were on you at all times, just like PL is now. Yep. So we got absolutely demolished. And then that was relatively it. That was kind of like the peak of my competitive, was playing against Soar on Xbox. And I came over here and I started casting before I got a PC. So I started casting from my Xbox with just a mic, and I was just streaming it from my Xbox, and people were watching it. And it was for a really, really small league. I don't remember the league name at all anymore. I remember it had like a tower that looked like a rook piece from chess. I can't remember exactly the name of the league, but they were just very, very, very small. And then things basically started getting a little bit more competitive on Xbox. There's a lot of quote unquote Twitter leagues, is what everybody on Xbox called them. And, we had one run by Glenn and a bunch of other things. Like we had the R6 League, R6 TV, a bunch of other stuff that I started casting for because Xbox didn't have any casters. So I more or less stepped up into casting, and I eventually became the most prominent caster on Xbox, where everyone just wanted me to start casting their stuff. So eventually I got to the biggest Xbox league at the time, community wise, was the GEL. So I started casting for that, and that started getting decent viewership. So it got bigger and bigger into that, to where eventually I was found after I got a PC, because I started streaming them from my PC. I got found by a caster that mostly everyone knows, named Sternab. And Sternab found me casting GEL, messaged me on Discord, and was like, "Hey, I like your stuff. Would you mind casting with me?" It's like, absolutely, I'd love casting with you. So I literally, under no contract, nothing, just off of Sternab's pure word, started casting with him on ESL sanctioned things. So like Go Force and all that stuff, he'd bring me in and just be like, "Look, as long as you don't say anything stupid and I don't get in trouble, you can tag along for the ride." I was like, "All right, cool." So I started, really grinding my teeth against that, and getting to feel more for casting and improving my craft along with that. And this is over the span of, like I said before, since January of 2017. So started working myself towards that. Stern found me in November of 2017, I want to say, is when he found me. So basically almost a fucking full year since I started casting. And then that's really why I started to work out a lot of the kinks in my cast, as well as, just reviewing Parker and everybody's Pro League cast, and then eventually finding this fuck that I now have a podcast with.
Hey.
Yep. Anyways, so started working myself up. I hit my fucking pop filter. Started working myself up through that. And then eventually, I got pushed into Challenger League as well as CCS, all thanks to Stern. Stern, I know that you probably listened to this. So thank you for literally I know I've already said thank you for this, but thanking you publicly now. Thank you for literally everything you've done for me, dude. Like, honestly, like I would not be near where I am today if you did not find me casting some random fucking Xbox League and putting me in the position I am today. So thank you for that. It really has changed my life for the better. Like, I'm going to fucking Vegas because of you. So it's awesome. And I know, like, what he said, he was like, "It's not because of me, it's because of your skill," blah, 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 whatever. But honestly, dude, thank you so fucking much for everything you've done for me. But anyways, started casting CCS, and there shortly after, ESL was like, "Hey, this kid has what we want to do Challenger League, because we're now going to start trying to, sanction Challenger League a little bit more. We need more casters for that." Challenger League picks up myself and Flynison over here.
Hey, bud.
And adds that to the lineup. And I start casting Challenger League, and everyone starts noticing me a little bit more and noticing that, you know, they really like the amount of energy I put into stuff, because I love video games. I've been playing video games since I was 3, all the way back up to the original game that I remember is Tekken 3. If anybody remembers that, that's more or less the first game that I ever played. That and the original Crash Bandicoot on the PS1. So I've been playing video games for a very, very long time, basically since the year 2000, because I was born in 1997. So after that, people obviously started liking my casting a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and they liked the amount of energy that I put into things. And then, you know, this gets announced, United States Nationals. And honestly, I didn't think anything of it when I first saw it. You know what I mean? I more or less was like, oh, hey, cool, another land that I get to watch on a weekend. So I have, you know, Siege content to see. That's fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I just assumed that it was going to be Pro League casters again. And then I'm going to expose Stern here, but I really don't give a fuck. It's fine. Just a little bit. I know he won't care either. So, but it gets on down the line. We get to about stage 3 area. And Stern is like, you know what? You should. I feel like they're going to really want all of, you know, a North American lineup to do the United States Nationals. Like, you know, yeah, that would make sense. You know what I mean? So probably get like Kicks, Flynn, Intero, and probably somebody else in there. You know, to really just do the lineup. Probably get like Emzo or something like that. You know, just get like an all North American lineup in there to really do their stuff. And he was like, you know what? You should do that. And I was like, I can't fucking do that, dude. You're insane. What the fuck are you talking about? And he goes, you know what? I'm gonna message Chip. And I was like, you're gonna message Chip, and Flynn knows who Chip is, but I was like, you're gonna message Chip. I was like, what the fuck ever. And like 3 days later, Stern sends me this screenshot of a message with Chip. He's like, did you consider Stokes for United States Nationals finals in Vegas? And Chip literally just sends back one message, and it just like, shut the fuck up. All right, shut the fuck up. That's all to Stern. And Stern sends me that, and I'm like, there's no actual fucking way that they're gonna like actually, you know, consider me to do this, right? Like, there's no way. And then of course that's when you go to critiquing yourself. You're like, I'm not fucking worth it. I'm not ready. Like, this is bullshit. This will never happen. And then it gets on down the line, and they announce that analytical thing, the analysis position that you guys could send your videotapes into. And Chip had already opened up like conversations with me, not about this, but about you know, about some other things along with Challenger League. And he also sent me a message on there and is like, hey, what's your email? And I was like, stokesofficial@gmail.com. Why is that? And he goes, pay attention to your email for an opportunity. That is literally all it says. I will show anybody. That's it. It is no context, no nothing. Just, hey, Stokes, you have a fucking opportunity. I'm like, okay. So it gets on down the line. They announce the analysis position that is open to the public to put in videos for. And it's been 2 weeks at this point. 2 fucking weeks. I'm like, dude, like, did they just back out? Did they, like, Stokes actually sucks at casting? Like, what the fuck's going on? And I'm like, do I put in for the analytical position? I don't know. So I messaged Chip. I'm like, hey, Chip, am I going to be a caster for this? Like, do I need to put in a video for analytics? Like, what's going on here? And he messages me back the next day, and he goes, no, the position they're looking to fill is you for casting. And of course, that's when it hits me. And I'm like, holy fuck. They want me to cast the United States National Finals in fucking Vegas. That's insane. And then, of course, you know, I start following up on that because absolutely everyone you hear about, or, you know, what's my success story? I was diligent. I made sure to just keep pushing the envelope and saying that I want this. So, like, you know, like twice a week I'd message Chip, me like, hey, I haven't heard anything, haven't got an email, like, what's the word? And he's like, oh, they should be contacting you, should be contacting you. And then eventually that's when I met Flynn for the first time, and then Flynn and I hit it off. We're decent friends now. And then they finally sent out the email to everybody. About it, and I DM'd Flynn. I'm like, hey, I got my email regarding USN. Flynn's like, hey, I got mine as well. And then Flynn and I basically messaged back and forth every time we got an email. And then ever since then, it's been, yeah, I'm kind of living in fucking fantasy land now, and it's fucking crazy, dude. So that's kind of my story of Rainbow Six Siege and how I got to where I am today. So there you go.
There you go. Yeah, I didn't cover any of my casting history or anything like that, or comp experience or anything.
Yeah,
it was just like how I got into the game. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just better than you, so I had to go through the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Well, people honestly know you a lot more than they know me. Like you're the fucking golden boy. They're like, we need Flynn and Proig. Like fucking Flynn and Proig.
There's a very, very small number of people who say that. I do appreciate that. Anyone out there who has ever said something along those lines. I know, right? I'm fucking garbage. But anyone out there who has non-ironically said that, I do appreciate that. Although it won't happen. Just as a forewarning, that's not a thing that will happen in the current format. I can't go into why, but it will not happen. There will be no changes. Just we're gonna leave it at that. Yeah,
this is one of the things that I get to know and you guys don't. So get fucked.
Yeah, I can talk to you. I can talk to you after.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
yeah. But yeah,
that's what I love about being at this tier. I get to find shit out.
You get the info. Yeah. Yeah, how I got into casting actually is I don't know. I've told the story a couple times on stream. I have a lot of stories from my life. I did not have a very typical childhood, or literally up until literally entire life actually. None of it was normal or fun or just a good time at all. So I have a lot of stories that I like to tell on stream and stuff, and a lot of people out there who have followed me for a little bit and tuned into some of the streams will know some of the stories, and I'm not gonna tell them all right now because that would take an entire podcast in and of itself to even get through one of them. But I got into casting. So last year in the summer, I was working for a company as a photographer and a videographer for them, just as a corporate photographer, doing a lot of stuff with them. And then after that, I moved to Toronto. So for anyone out there, I'm not actually from Toronto. I just say that because I don't need any of you fucking weirdos finding out where I live in the world, like actually where my city is. It's close enough to Toronto. All right, we're gonna leave it at that. But anyway, I moved to downtown Toronto with a friend, and the rent was super fucking high, and I could barely, and I mean just fucking barely, afford half the rent on top of like utilities and internet and all that shit and groceries. So like I was barely getting by, but I figured, you know, I could grind it out for a little bit. It's not a big deal. But I still had a decent amount of money saved up from my old job, part of the money that I used to buy my PC. So I had some money in the bank that I was saving for, you know, just extreme circumstances or whatever, and just leaving it in an RRSP, which is, you know, a tax-free savings account, basically. You get penalized for taking money out of it, basically. So it was locked away. It was a decent chunk of change, but it was locked away from me, and I didn't have access to it. So I was just working or living off of what I was making. So I moved to Toronto with this friend, and we're there for about a month. Yeah, we're there for about a month, and then I go to Atlanta to visit my friend Chase. I used part of that money that was locked away to go on a trip and meet him for the first time, or not the first time, sorry, the second time, but hang out with him and just, you know, spend a week in Atlanta, a new place to go and hang out with a friend. And that was fun. And when I came back from Atlanta, my friend who had moved in with me just up and took all his shit and left.
Oh my god.
And he didn't have a job at the time. He was in school, and we needed the apartment in August, and I signed the lease in July. I was the only one with a job, so I was the only name on the lease. So he just took all his shit and left. And he left me on the hook for 11 months of rent in an apartment I could barely afford half of the utilities, half of the internet, and half of the groceries, and half of the rent I could barely afford. And he left me with all of it. Just no word, just up and grabbed all his shit and left one day. I came back from Atlanta and he was gone. So I tried reaching out, trying to find a roommate, because it was a 2-bedroom apartment. I tried looking around because we were close to a school, university in Toronto. We were close, so I was looking around for roommates and stuff. But by then, you know, it was the second week of August. People had already moved in. School starts in 2 weeks, so there's no way people are still looking for rooms. So I got fucked on that too. Couldn't find a roommate in time. I kept posting ads and stuff saying, you know, hey, this is the rent, this is the situation, this is what I do. I won't be around the apartment a whole lot, but hey, this is how she goes. Didn't get any luck with that, so I had to crack open the war chest and try to fight to survive, because there was basically no money left. So I had enough money to cover rent. I had enough money to cover the rent left on the lease. And that's all I had. I had no money for food. I had no money for internet. And at the end of the summer, the company that I was working for folded. They went under. They didn't have enough money to pay me, so I actually worked for I think 60 hours in 2 months at that place, and they never paid me for it. So that was fun as well, because I was just being paid like every other month or so for however much work I did, and then that was 2 months of work that I never got paid for, which was a good time. And then after that, I was in a bad spot, so I was really fucking broke, and I was still playing Siege and stuff at the apartment, but I was looking for ways out. I was looking for new jobs and stuff, and all of a sudden, I was subbing in for a friend's comp team in the league called IEG, which is now dead. It's part of ESA now, but the league is gone, doesn't exist anymore. But I was subbing in for his team in a game, and I saw an announcement post in the Discord for the league that was just like, hey, we need some volunteer casters. We'll take you. We don't care if you have experience or not. So my friends had always been pushing me like, hey, you should try casting, I think you'd be good at it. You've got a good analytical mind, and you've got this stupid fucking voice where it sounds like you're 28, even though you're like 15. So go do that. So I volunteered to cast, and then I started solo casting at IEG, but obviously, if anyone out there has tried to get their name out there for casting, or just done any casting for amateur leagues, they don't pay you. It is all volunteer work. You don't get a dime for the work you do. It is all just for the love of doing it and getting a little bit of recognition and your name out there. So that wasn't going to last very long at that rate. I even actually sent out a very heartfelt message to everyone in the league saying, after a month of doing it, that I wasn't going to be able to do it anymore. I was going to have to pack up all my shit and, move back home with my mom and try and work out how to fucking pay off the lease and shit and cancel the contract on the internet, which was going to be a huge bill and stuff. Like, I still have debt from living in that apartment that I have to pay off. It was a lot of money sent down the drain for something that did not work out, but 1-year leases really do fuck you over on a lot of things. So I was about to quit casting. I was about to quit casting entirely. I was about to be done with it. It was a fun ride. People noticed me. People thought I was decent. It was fun, but I was going to be done. And then out of nowhere, Northern Arena, a company I had never heard of before, who ran a couple esport things in Toronto. I had never heard of them. I never knew what they did, but they tweeted out something along the lines of like the infamous eyes emoji and like something with a Rainbow Six logo or something. I don't remember what the fucking tweet was. And that was literally the week I was going to quit and pack everything up and move. And then the next week, the announcement comes out that they're running this, the Canadian circuit. What the fuck is the Canadian circuit? The Canadian-only tournament league every single week and stuff. And on a whim, I just DM'd the Northern Arena Twitter account. I was just like, you don't know who I am. I don't know who you are, but I don't know who's going to be casting this. But I could drive down to Toronto to a studio and, cast some of these things for free. I don't care. It'll be fun because I'll be back at my mom's place, and it's like a 2-hour drive, so it's not that bad. I can find money for gas. And then I sent them a DM with a demo reel from IEG, and they were like, yeah, we're going to take you, and we're going to pay you. And I was like, oh, you're going to pay me? Oh, okay, I don't need to move now. You saved my life. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I started doing the Canadian circuit, and then that's how I got paid to go to Invite, because we had the LAN finals for the Canadian circuit the day before the playoffs of Invite started. It was the Thursday. So basically, you had group stage Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The off day for Invitational was on Thursday. That's when we had our LAN at the... I forget the name of the theater. But it was a cool theater, and there was an open bar, and a lot of drinks were had. Yeah, so we had the LAN event there, and they paid me to go, and paid for all of my travel and stuff, and hotel and stuff, and paid me for the entire month-long event and stuff. So I was able to actually get some money and cut down on some of the debt and stuff, and it was... that was basically how I got my start, and then from there, obviously, the Canadian Nationals, I've been casting that ever since. And then Walker actually DM'd me on the train back from Montreal to Toronto from Invite. He saw the Canadian Circuit LAN final and DM'd me and was like, "Hey, do you want to cast CCS?" That's how I started casting CCS. And then from there, it was basically just Canadian Nationals and CCS for all the summer this year, spring and summer. And then out of nowhere, I just get a DM from Parker. I don't even we had obviously like talked a lot because we were pretty close even up until doing our first Canadian Circuit desk job together. We had communicated back and forth and like talked to each other in DMs and stuff, and he gave me a lot of fucking pointers very early on. I reached out, I think it was after my very first broadcast. I sent him a link to the VOD of the very first broadcast I did for IAG, and he wrote me, I want to say, a 2,000 character essay in Discord DMs. He had to send it in 7 parts because the character limit on Discord wouldn't let him go and just write me an essay in one message. So it's a 7-part message I still have screenshotted, of basically him just giving me all these different tips about what I should work on and what I should focus on. And he had a lot of faith in me from the very, very beginning. And like Sternab did for you, Parker was kind of that for me. So he definitely took me under his wing and tried to help me as much as possible and grow my casting ability and get me the opportunities, because obviously he was a previous caster at CCS before going to Pro League. And the next thing was DreamHack Montreal, which was my first like Pro League event. I had done paid work before, I'd done LANs before, but I had never done like an event with Pro League teams there. Obviously the Canadian Circuit and the Canadian Nationals had like Pro League players in it, but it wasn't a full-on Pro League event on the main channel. I just got a DM from Parker in August out of nowhere. Like, it was 2 weeks removed from the Season 1 Nationals LAN in August, and I was just chilling at home. I wasn't really expecting anything. I was just waiting for the next season of Canadian Nationals to start up. And I got a DM from him, and he's like, check your email inbox. I was like, why? It's fucking 4 a.m., Parker. Leave me alone. You woke me up. And I checked my email inbox, and it's an offer from ESL to cast DreamHack Montreal. And I just immediately flipped back. I just like read the email for like half of it, closed the email app, opened up the DM, and I'm like, you fucking bastard. You fucking bastard. What did you do? So I lost my shit on him. He just sends me back a fucking smiley face. I was like, you motherfucker, what did you do?
Oh man. He said, let me play this bitch like a puppet real quick.
Yup. So yeah, then DreamHack Montreal led into the Euro Cup because Parker needed to stay behind in Poland to do the USN. I think it was stage 3 at the time, and the Pro League day. So I got an emergency call to do the Euro Cup in Italy, and that was a lot of fun. It's my first event in Europe, and first time just like traveling that far to do an event. Obviously traveled to different places in my life before, but that was my first time actually traveling for that far for an event, and the travel was gruesome. I actually got stranded in Paris for a day, which was fun. It's also where I lost my headphones, rip the Audio Technicas. But yeah, and then from there, obviously, I got contacted to do USN finals, which honestly saved my bank account because, like I said, still paying off a good amount of that debt from being basically homeless in an apartment. A lot of my like friends and a lot of my frequent viewers on my stream will know this, but for 10 months, I didn't even stay for the full amount of the lease because I worked up enough money to pay off the last 2 months of the lease of the rent up front, and last month's was already paid, obviously, because you pay your first and last when you move in. I worked up enough money through casting to pay off the rest of it, and I just packed up my shit and I moved back to my mom's. So I didn't even make it the full 12, but in April I finally caved. But for those 10 months, I ate 200 grams of pasta raw every other day, and that's all I ate for 10 months. I lost 45 pounds just from like starving, basically. Yeah. Yeah,
so
I'm
no ramen.
No ramen. Ramen was an option, but the better value is, so like a ramen package was like 30 cents a package, but every like month or so, I don't know what it was, maybe it was just the grocery store I was at, but a giant ass bag of pasta would be 99 cents. So you'd get more pasta by like more food, more calories, because that's all you need to survive is calories. You'd get more from buying the big bags of pasta. So that's all I do, and I would just boil it in water and eat it raw, and that's what I only ate. Yeah, it was about a fifth or so of a bag of like a giant bag of pasta. It was about 200 grams of raw pasta every other day. So, I'd eat Monday, I wouldn't eat Tuesday, I'd eat Wednesday, so forth. And I did that for 10 months. And my family was very, very fucking concerned at Christmas when my mom took me down to my old hometown to see the family for Christmas and stuff. And I looked like I was on the streets. Like, it was bad. And that's also why none of my suits fit anymore, because they were all tailored to be wrapping around the old fit Flynn's body, and maybe slightly overweight Flynn's body as well after high school. Yeah, now I'm a fucking twig, because yeah, didn't really go well. So I went through the fucking grind to make the casting dream come alive. But I made it.
That's insane, buddy. I'm happy for you.
That's not even the first. So that's not the first, second, third, or fourth time I've had to do that in my life.
Yeah, I know. I know.
We won't get into that right now because that got real dark.
Yeah, that shit gets real dark. We don't want people crying in their fucking cars.
Yeah, really.
yeah. I remember when you told me about that shit. You're like, Stokes, are you still there? I was like, yeah, I'm here. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Just, contemplating suicide. It's fine.
Yeah, everything's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, guys. So I mean, the again, Rainbow Six is in honeymoon phase, and there's a lot of shit that goes into this stuff. Like even like my girlfriend, like it's hard for her to wrap around like what the fuck I actually do, because I have a full-time job. I work with my dad. I work down here on the port, and I work in the grain industry. So I have the corn, all that stuff like that goes in those big fucking silos that you guys see in like the Midwest and stuff. That's what I do. So I work outside all day. I do all that shit. Then I get home, Flynn and I sit down, record a podcast. I get online, I stream, all that stuff. That's why when people are like, Stokes, where the fuck is the stream? Dude, I've already worked 10 hours today, and then I came home and recorded a podcast with Flynn. Then I fucking went off to the side room, jerked it real quick because that's what I had to do. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch of shit that goes into this, and it's a lot. And a lot of this is just based off of passion and love for video games. And it all came back to video games is what got me through the day. Video games is what makes it to where I don't murder people. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's your stress relief, and it just came from a passion for that. So I mean, it's a lot of shit, man. It really is a lot of shit. And like, buddy, again, I'm really, really happy you got through that shit, because again, that led to this, and that's what led to me meeting you. And I think you're a fucking awesome human being. So I'm really, really happy that I got to meet you and that you got through all that shit. So that's what got us here today.
God, I hope you jump off a bridge.
Yeah, me too, honestly. Anyways,
last thing, because we can wrap this up soon. We're encroaching 2 hours. We're an hour 42.
Okay, yeah, we can kill this. We can definitely kill that.
Yeah.
So this one comes from @DemoniccCast, which I know he's a newer caster, and he asked biggest first time casting mistakes.
First time casting mistakes.
I'll take this. So you can like think a little bit back. Because I had a little bit of time to think there while you're doing your story time with Flynn. But I would say biggest mistakes as a caster when you're initially starting is not knowing when to toss it to your co-caster. Rambling on is a really big thing, as well as not letting the play speak for itself. It is okay to be quiet. Like, it legitimately is okay to stop talking and let other action ensue. I still make mistakes like that where I just feel like I have to continue talking and don't let the play speak for itself, which is, something that also helps build the hype, is just give it that little bit of downtime to really let something crazy happen. And you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. NVK, huge 3-piece right there, really sets the tone for the rest of the round, or something like that really comes through. As well as work on transitional phrasing. That's still something that I'm working on myself. Flynn is very good at it. Parker is very good at it. As well as your play-by-play. Do not be a kill feed reader. I know that there is some people that think that's a good thing. I still do it. I even did it in my last cast. It's not a good thing to do. More or less pay attention to using your phrasing in order to elevate the play instead of just being an information reader and being like, this guy killed this guy, this guy killed this guy, this guy killed this guy. That was kind of crazy. Be that guy that is every single iconic moment that you've ever heard of in casting has been made not only by the player, but by the caster. There is legitimately a moment in every esports' history where you're like, that entire moment was made 10 times better by a caster. Right off the top of my head right now, Happy from oh my goodness, remember, I want to say it's Envious, his deagle through the smoke on Inferno by Banana, where he literally just murdered everybody. And I will never forget the caster going, I can't remember his name right now either, just blanking a little bit, but where he's like, go, oh, Happy, oh my god, MVK's gotta be sweating bullets, like, you just like stuff like that, where it's just the caster is so into it and so passionate. It's literally I can't remember who said this. It might have been me, I don't know exactly who said it, but the gameplay is the canvas and the caster is the paintbrush. You are the person that makes those plays iconic, and you have to focus on perfecting your craft in order to be that master painter.
Yeah, I think one of the best pieces of advice I ever got from Parker very early on, and it's a mistake that a lot of young casters make.
I'd probably make it to this day. Hit me with it. Let's go.
Well, it's more touching on the same. It's more touching on the same note that you were just hitting on, which is you don't need to cast everything that's in front of you. You don't need to be a play-by-play fucking teleprompter of, this dude's rappelling on a window, now he's droning this, now he's walking in this, now he's looking at this window. The best advice I ever got from Parker was to tell a story. Take every single round, look at every single round. Don't read what's happening. Explain to the audience through a story what is happening. You never want to be the person who's just sitting there reacting and listing off what is happening. People can fucking see what's happening. They have eyes. You don't need to be their inner voice and say, oh, this person's looking out a window, unless it's super fucking crucial. Like, oh, there's a dude on the other side of the fucking window, and the first person to shoot gets a kill. Okay, fine.
Like consulate CEO office. Like, that's huge when they're playing basement.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
But like, you don't need to be the teleprompter. You need to be the storyteller. You need to be the person who takes all the information, decides what's important to explain, and give it some detail, give it some life, give it some enthusiasm, give it some depth. Don't be the person that's like, and now this person's rotating over here, and now this person's droning this staircase. Be the person that is explaining the entirety of the round, what the push is. There are only really 30 seconds in every round in Siege that really require play-by-play. Everything else is analyst or, like, color. It's the additions you make as a caster. It's you putting your voice, your tone, your words on it. You have to be the person making the story. If you're just watching the gameplay, dude, they'll prefer to just turn off the audio. They won't give a shit what you're saying. To be a good caster of anything, whether it comes to quote-unquote real sports, esports, anything, if you're going to be the person who's bringing it a voice, do more than just sit there and be a teleprompter and explain to the audience what they can already see. Bring more. Say more. And also, don't take everything that's happening in the round and try to say it at once. Pick out the most important details.
Guilty as fuck.
Pick out the most important details that are happening at the moment or that have happened in previous rounds and relate them to what is happening currently to then tell the story. Don't be like, okay, well, we're not going to talk about the last 3 rounds because they don't matter. They do matter. They matter so fucking much. They're going to give you your cadence. They're going to give you what kind of pace you should say. They're going to give you all the information you need to read the next round. That's why first rounds are so hard. The first round of any match is the most difficult, I think, for any caster. because there is no basis to work off of. You have to go off of prior knowledge of the teams. And in a lot of the amateur leagues, you don't have prior knowledge of the teams because there's some random motherfuckers you've never heard of.
Yep.
It's easy to start a game in Pro League because there is so much storied history with all the players and all the teams and the orgs and the maps and all that shit. In the amateur leagues, you need to be able to create that story. You need to be able to drive the storyline and the interest of the fans and the viewers. Make them want to dive into the story. Make them want to understand what is happening on a deeper level. Whether you're an analyst or a play-by-play person, that applies to both of you. Anyone out there who wants to be a caster, do not simply look at the information in front of you and read it off. Look at everything that's happening around the entirety of the map. And sometimes that's difficult because of our observing system. You got to be able to work through that, because there are a lot of casters out there who can, and there are a lot of casters who can't. If you can't read that there's a person moving behind, because you can see the silhouettes of everyone. We have X-ray on the casting. You can see silhouettes moving. You can see what that person is in the silhouette. You can say what that person's doing while looking at a different person's eyes. You can see what is happening, the shifts that are being made, the movements, the counterplays. You can see all of that through one person's eyes because of the X-ray. Don't just read what the person in front of you is doing. Read what you see in the silhouettes. Read what you see in the map. Read what you see what a team has intentionally laid in place, and explain that as the story of the round. That will set you apart from every other caster.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I would say some other things. I actually read back through my messages with Parker as well. And actually, I just did that right now. And the greatest thing about, especially Parker, for instance, when he talks to you about your casting and stuff, is he's very, very good at going, here's your pros, here's your cons. This is the shit you need to work on. This is the shit 100%. You're great at. Yeah, he's a no holds barred, which is fantastic. He's like,
he'll tell it to you straight,
and you're amazing at this. Focus on getting this better and keep what you're doing with this. I love this. This shit sucks. This shit needs to be reworked. It's great. And honestly, like the greatest thing about what Parker said to me was, I'll actually just read it word for word. He goes, didn't stumble on words at all. You broke down what you saw, clear and concisely, using the right words in the right instances. It may be some of the best articulated analysis I've heard outside of Pro League, because none of what I heard was wrong, first and foremost, but also because you were able to translate it well to the viewers. The last part is huge. A lot of analysts struggle to find a good middle ground, sometimes being really in-depth and driving away casual viewers, or being really light, often saying what is obvious to everyone watching without adding much for the most experienced audience. You straddled that line well. So obviously, with how well Parker articulates his wording as well, you guys can see that like I do analytics very well, and that's basically like been my main focus. I love doing play-by-play because I love being extremely hyper about things. That's just me. But also Parker pointed out later, with later conversation with our DMs, that I am an information reader, which is exactly what Flynn talked about. Everyone has bad habits when they're newer to casting. I am still newer to casting. I still have stuff that I have to work on all the time, and that's why I'm extremely excited for USN, because I have a bunch of casters around me that are better casters than I am, and I get to learn from them and really up my ante at what I do. I want to do this. I want to continue to get better at this. I'm an extremely competitive person, so I want to get as good at this as possible. And another thing that goes back to what I did at the beginning, I used to say absolutely all the fucking time, and all the time. Big thing is, download this on your phone right now. Download Dictionary, the app. And what it does is it will give you a word every single day, allow notifications. It will give you a brand new word every single day. You learn a word every single day. I knew the word trivial, but I never used the word trivial. I use the word trivial quite a bit now, as well as other words that are synonyms of that word, just because the dictionary app popped it up on my phone one day. I was like, oh, trivial. That's a great word. I should use that. Awesome word. Flynn, as well as Parker, have some of the most wide vocabularies inside of their casting, and I'm really jealous of that. It's not the fact that I don't know the words. Like when they say them, I know them, but I don't think of them off the top of my head. It's about being able to
conjure them in the moment.
Exactly. And it makes their casting fantastic. It's beautiful. That's why people like Flynn's casting so much, is because he's so cutting edge with the words that he uses. He sounds like Parker. He does, when his wording and phrasing and everything else is, it really does tell that story and what you're trying to do, which is awesome. and I'm trying to get to that level. I literally spend my days going over my casts and looking at words that I use often, and then looking up synonyms of those words. I know like 14 different words that go off of good. Like,
yep.
That's what you got to know, because you have to be able to color commentate things. You can't say good 17 times in the same cast, then you just sound like an idiot.
Yep.
So you have to be able to open up your arsenal of wording and phrases and throw that into things. There's something that fucking I think Parker pointed this. It was either Stern Adam or him. And there's stuff that you'll come off with just off cuff that you just came up with in that instance.
Oh, yeah.
For instance, like Buck. We were talking about Buck in a Consulate game, and they took Sludge instead of Buck, and I was like, oh, it's the medieval Buck, because he's got a fucking hammer. I didn't even think of that. It just came off my tongue, and I was like, that's smart as fuck, dude. Look at me. And everyone's like, oh, medieval Buck, dude, that's funny as fuck. Like, you know what I mean? It's just stuff like that. You have to be creative with what you do, and it's got to be at a moment's notice, and you got to be able to just snap your fingers and go, boom, content. Because that's what you're there for. You're there to drive the content home to the community. And if you can't do that, you're not cut out to do this. So just focus on getting better.
It actually happened with you the first time we sat down to do the first episode of the podcast. You were like, I remember you said this thing one time and it was fucking great. And I was like, yeah, I don't remember saying that at all. There are so many times in which I'm in the moment casting. I can't tell you anything I've ever said in a cast before. I can't. I don't remember any of it. It's just, if you can't think of it in the moment, if you can't be on the fly and honestly continuously adapt to the field in front of you and continuously cycle out new words in your vocabulary, if you can't do that, then you're gonna sound stale. You're gonna sound stagnant, and you're not going to develop anything else. And to be honest, just don't even focus on it too much, because I don't. I know that may be harder for newer casters, and it comes with experience, because by no means was I a fucking thesaurus on wheels when I first started. It just comes with time and practice and constantly, bringing out phrases that you think you haven't heard before or think would sound good. And sometimes you botch it, sometimes you don't, sometimes you say some really fucking clever shit, sometimes you say some really average shit. Keep trying to push that envelope, because I deadass don't remember anything. Like, I get that all the time. People will say, I really like your wordplay on this cast, on this call. And I was like, did I say that? You could tell me anything and I would believe it that I've said it, because I don't remember saying anything in any cast ever. I just casted on Friday for CCS. I don't remember a single fucking word I said in that entire broadcast. It was 5 hours long. I don't remember a single word I said.
Honestly, thinking back to Wednesday when I casted, I really can't think of anything either. The thing that I remember, this will be an example, guys, for you, if you guys are trying to get into casting and stuff like that. There is a bunch of leagues. Even honestly, guys, I actually started on Xbox casting scrims. Like, ask your friends that play competitive, can I cast your scrim? And just practice. Even if you record it yourself and go back and go, okay, I fucked up on this, and this. I need to work on these. I did this pretty well. And don't compare yourself to new casters. Don't do that. Don't compare yourselves. If you have friends that are trying to cast, compare yourselves to the highest tier. That's the only way you get better. Yep. Every single cast I go back, I compare myself to Parker. I compare myself to Kix. All the Pro League casters, I compare myself and go, I fucked up on this. I fucked up on this. I need to fix that in order to get to where I want to go. And I do it with every single cast. I rewatch every single one of my casts, and I have a notebook where I fill out literally everything. If I overuse a word, if I stuttered on a certain thing, why did I stutter there? What was I trying to think of? Put yourself back in that mindset. All these things in order to improve your wordplay as well as just your flow of things. And it really helps. You know what I mean? I've been looking up. Actually, my mom has sent me lists of like transitional words and stuff like that, because my parents love that I do this, because I've been doing this since I was 3. Again, I've had a passion for video games for a very, very long time. I graduated with a terrible GPA because of video games, guys. Like, I would stay up till 2 a.m. I don't give a flying fuck. Like, I just love video games, and my parents have known that since I was little.
At least you graduated.
Yeah, exactly. At least I graduated, so that's good. I will tell you my GPA off the podcast. I do not want to fucking say, dude, it's real bad. But I'm not a stupid person. You know what I mean? I'm definitely capable. I might stutter sometimes, just like I did right there. But again, that's just all in wordplay. And that's where I'm trying to get to. I'm getting better and better as I progress through this. And you can help yourself even out by just reading a book, guys. Like, I guarantee you guys you people in school right now are really good at wordplay because you have English class and all this stuff where you are required to read. I stopped reading when I got out of high school, and that has really hurt me a lot. Like, from the age of 3, I have had a very, very expanded vocabulary, and people pointed that out to me. But after high school, it has kind of, started to be a detriment. It's kind of lessened in what I had. And now I'm trying to get back to the point where I was in high school where, I could pull words out of my ass at any given time. People be like, oh, he choked him. I'm like, oh, he's asphyxiated. You know what I mean? People are like, what the fuck does that word even mean? You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. Everyone knows what that means now, obviously, because of capital. But yeah, that's what asphyxiated means. You can't fucking breathe. So, stuff like that, where you just have those words in your arsenal in order to pull out at any given moment and make yourself sound smart. There you go.
Yeah. And then just don't ever use them in your daily life because people will think you're a pretentious douche. So
yeah,
draw the line. Draw the line between being a caster and then being an everyday person because they're different things.
Oh, and then one more thing I wanted to say because I really got into this, and you guys might be able to notice it in the podcast sometimes when I do really get going. Don't get stuck on words that help you with sentences and where you more or less use them as commas. Like is a big one. I got stuck in because I work outside with guys. That's what I do. I'm outside with a crew full of guys, and all it is cussing the entire day. And my dad is basically the exact same human being I am, except he's 5'6" and I'm 5'11". But
Tinder 6 foot. Get it right.
Tinder, I'm 6 foot, baby, little dicky. But I got stuck in using fuck in literally all my sentences. Like, if I talk with fuck right now, like, I can formulate any sentence. Like, fucking Flynn went to the fucking deli and fucking fuck. Like, if I get going, I use fuck for like a comma. It's terrible.
Welcome
and
to Canada,
I've finally broken it. Yeah, I finally broken it to where I don't use it as often. Like, I use it as more of a, something to kind of add some flair, some color to my sentences. But it's made me go back to stuttering a little bit more. And that's where, the thesaurus comes in, and I go, okay, I can use these words to kind of, transition into other sentences and what I want to do. So focus on not getting stuck on the same words, especially in your daily life, to where you're not just saying fuck or like all the time, because that will show inside of your commentating.
Well, fuck yeah, bud.
Oh, fuck yeah, bud.
Oh, fuck yeah, bud.
Went to the fucking restaurant today, dude. Then I went to the fucking pawn store. The pawn store had so many fucking tools inside of it, dude. It was absolutely fucking insane, dude. Legitimately. I'm not even making this up, dude. We went to the fucking pawn store, and I was looking at these watches because I wanted to get my roommate a watch for Christmas. And I was like, you know what? I can get one from the pawn store. It'd be fucking great. And I started looking. All these fucking bands on these watches, dude, they were too tiny for his fucking wrist, and then they didn't have the links at the fucking store. I was like, God damn it, dude, I want to go online and buy these fucking things. So I asked the lady, she's like, we don't have any of the fucking links. I'm like, well, fuck, dude, I was fucked. See, I talk perfectly fine there because I used fuck, and I'm an idiot. So I have to use fuck in order to make my sentences sound right, and that's what we're trying to work on. There you go. I just did it. So you guys can perfectly see, didn't stutter at all because I used fuck. Because I'm a fucking idiot and got stuck in using fuck for everything inside of my sentences. There you go. Class dismissed.
You're a fucking dumbass, bud.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
Get fucked.
Get fucked.
All right. I think that's it for us, guys. I think, yeah, we've eclipsed 2 hours again. Damn, we keep crushing. I said we'd do like an hour and a half to 2 hours. Like, we wouldn't.
We're crushing 2 hours, baby.
We're crushing 2 hours every fucking episode, bud.
Oh, fuck yeah, bud.
Oh, fuck yeah. So, that's gonna wrap it up for us. USN this Saturday and Sunday, December 15th and 16th. Show starts early in the morning, Western time, Pacific time. Can't say the actual time yet. The schedule will be released before we start. I don't know if it'll be released before we land, but expect early morning Pacific time, so in the early afternoon Eastern time. If you're out in Europe and you want to watch the U.S. Nationals for some reason, good luck. It'll be like in the middle of the night. That's gonna wrap it up for us, guys. We're gonna be in Vegas on Thursday. This Thursday show is questionable at this point. I don't know if we're gonna do it or not. We have a lot of logistical things to work out as far as that goes. But yeah,
I mean, honestly, we might just turn on a fucking phone on Twitch and literally just do it live.
True,
like, hey, we're gonna be here. Here's the VOD. You guys can watch it. And yeah, we might even be able to pull audio from that and upload it. That might actually be a
I could. It'll sound like shit, but
but I
we
mean,
might be able to
work
something out.
Content. Yeah. Anyways,
content.
Anyways, that's Flynn. I'm Stokes. You guys can hit us up on Twitter at Stokes for me, at FlynnCast for him. Use hashtag BLeaguers on Twitter, guys, if you guys want to ask us any questions, as well as we will be routinely doing a Q&A section on this. So if you guys want to get in on that, use either that hashtag or wait for one of us to tweet out, hey, we need Q&A questions, and just reply right there. But guys, this has been the BLeaguers podcast. Just signing off. We will see you guys very soon. Everybody have a good day.
Good night.